Warning, this podcast contains spoilers.
Spoilerific.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to the TV podcast, TVCaptive.com presents the As Seen on TV podcast for Warehouse 13, Season 5, Episode 5, Cangku Shisi. I can actually pronounce it this time.
Congratulations.
I know, right? I'm your host, Dom. With me is my co-host, Mike, calling live from his Farnsworth.
Yeah. I wanted to say I'm trapped in some little box.
No.
In a box.
So, what did you think of this episode? We're one episode away from the finale now.
It was an interesting episode, especially with Darth Valda. I'm calling him Darth Valda because, you know, he's the evil one.
Not Valdernit.
Okay, Valdernit. Valdernit,
Just sounds awful.
it sounds horrible. I love Mark Shepard, so I just don't care. He's in it. It's good. He's in it. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
It was a good episode, though. I think it wasn't nearly. The last episode was much better for me personally. Ole!
Ole. Yeah. This is our first story-centric episode that we've had. I think all season. Even the first episode wasn't extremely story-centric.
No, it really wasn't, actually. This was very story-centric.
There was almost no side things going on whatsoever. Like, this was all dealing with the main problems at hand.
Yeah, the main problem at hand being
Valda, which...
Darth Valdernit.
Yeah.
And
Darth Valdernit. Oh, wow, his name is just growing. It's Darth Benedict Valdernit.
yeah, the guy.
A.K.A. Mark Shepard. That's his whole title now. Darth Benedict Valternit, a.k.a. Mark Shepard. He takes Claire, and shoves some artifact in her eyeball.
Mm-hmm. Whatever the hell that thing was.
Yeah, she had the helmet on. She shoved the thing in there, and he started using her. Controlling her with the artifact. What did you think his intentions originally were with her?
Originally, I thought just use her as a secret weapon, as a weapon, basically, because she has a decent amount of psychic power, and, he would have total control over her with that Boar guy implant artifact that was on, every guard of the warehouse in the alternate universe.
Yep. Yeah. I definitely thought they were going to weaponize, or he was going to weaponize her as well. The lens that they used was Chester Moore Hall's achromatic lens.
Mm-hmm.
And
Chester Moore Hall's achromatic lens.
Yes. I don't believe we have seen this before.
We saw a few of them in the alternate universe, but never really what it was.
It says that the artifact was originally collected by Warehouse 12.
Ah.
And it was used to control the army of super soldiers. But Chester Moore Hall was a British lawyer inventor who invented the first achromatic lens, which he used to build the first refracting telescope free from color distortions. That's perfect for you, being colorblind, right? Convinced from his study of the human eye that achromatic lenses were feasible, Hall experimented with different kinds of glass until he found a combination of crown glass and flint glass that met its requirements. In 1733, he built several telescopes, the apertures of 2.5 inches and focal lengths of 20 inches. Little side note there. So, kind of a cool little device.
Yeah, mind-controlled devicey thing.
In this timeline, there's only the one, but we know in the alternate timeline, Valda was
they made copies of a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Lots of copies.
Yeah. Then when they were all kind of meeting, trying to figure out what was going on with Valda, because they were still trying to figure out where Claire was and all that stuff, something that I've been waiting for quite a while happened. And that is Pete grabbed the wheel, the ship wheel, in the office. And we finally got to see what it did.
Yeah, it... What the hell was with that?
I've been waiting forever. And I forgot about it this season. But, like, I was just thinking of it last season. I forget. It was like, I don't know, somewhere about halfway through last season, I remember seeing it, and I'm like, what does that thing do? I remember getting mad at it. And now we actually saw it. So, I don't think they gave any explanation or named it, or I don't think we know exactly what it is, but it seemed to steer the warehouse.
The helm of the Titanic, I don't friggin' know what the hell it could have been, but
Iceberg
it was...
straight ahead.
Yeah, it was a little weird. The whole warehouse just lists to the side. But you know what? It's funny. You've gone 5... Someone must have asked, what is that, what does the steering wheel do?
Yeah.
Like after 5 seasons.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Something that most people didn't even know they wanted answered was answered.
Now we know.
So amidst all that, they end up finding out that Valda had been in the warehouse the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And he was kind of spying on them, watching their every move, and learning about Claire and Claudia, their relationship or whatever. Knowing Claudia is supposedly the next caretaker, he knew going into the family that Claire would be a suitable replacement for the next warehouse, because we even got some backstory that Mrs. Frederick had a sister who was in charge of a warehouse, which is kind of cool, because we don't really know much about Mrs. Frederick. We got some interesting backstory on her.
She's the only thing you know about Mrs. Frederick is she's the caretaker of the warehouse and a very scary old lady.
She is, and she just likes to appear and disappear at random.
She's Batman.
She doesn't speak like Batman. She doesn't have throat cancer.
No, but she's Batman.
Okay.
Because she's there one second and gone the next.
Yes. So they end up exploring Valda's room in the dead agent's vault, and they find a lot of medical files on Claire and some artifacts that are missing. Things in his room, like what was it, the sleeve for one of the records and stuff like that, and realized, oh, he's up to something. So Micah, why did I want to call her Micah? Micah ends up finding the case to a missing key that was in the Regent's vault. So they go explore the Regent's vault.
Yep.
Right. Valda ends up setting a trap for them. How is it that Valda stays like 2 steps ahead of these guys the whole time?
I mean, he's kind of... It was alternate reality warehouse, but it wasn't, most of the most of the artifacts remain the same, more or less. So I think he had a... And plus, he's been hiding out in the warehouse, so he probably had plenty of time to get intimately familiar with things. So...
It's kind of a scary thing, Mark Shepard getting intimate with things.
Yeah, right. Mark Shepard getting intimate with things. But I don't know. Honestly, it's just being a decent villain is staying 1 step away ahead of the heroes until they finally corner him. So I didn't really ask too many questions about that. But now that I think about it, I have no idea how he legitimately stayed ahead of them, especially with the fact that they used a portal. I mean, they took a portal to China. How long does it take to fly from Boston to China? Boston to Beijing. Even on a private jet, you tell me how the hell long that takes.
A long
12
hours. I don't know. Something.
More like probably 18 or something like that.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know, but it takes a long goddamn time. It took them maybe a half hour total to get the portal going.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, they had to travel back from Boston. So, even then, come on.
Yeah, I don't... So, he kills off one of the regents, right? And Artie goes to move him, and under it is William Edward Perry's
Inukshuk.
Yeah. So, that thing was kind of crazy.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. was just a bit. It was like a little crude rock statue of a man that froze him.
Yeah, now this is something we have not seen before whatsoever, right?
No, nothing ever.
So it says this man-made structure was once owned by English explorer Sir William Edward Parry. His 1819 voyage through the Parry Canal, or Parry Channel rather, was probably the most successful in his long quest for the Northwest Passage. On this expedition, Parry attempted to reach the Lancaster Sound without going around Baffin Bay. However, his ship was blocked by ice, and Parry and his crew were forced to spend the next 10 months anchored in a place Parry called Winter Harbor, where temperatures dropped to negative 54 degrees Fahrenheit. In 1827, he attempted one of the earliest expeditions to the North Pole. So, yeah, I can see why. This thing released a blizzard, it cryogenetically froze Artie.
With the most epic look on his face.
And they said he had about an hour to live before hypothermia set in. So, then what was the glasses that they ended up using?
Albert Butts, I think his name was. He was the guy who invented the thermostat.
Albert Butts glasses, yeah. And we had seen those in season 3, I believe it was, episode Insatiable.
Yes, we have seen them before. Wow.
It was the zombie outbreak.
Right, exactly.
That was
something
in New
Artie
York.
carried around with him usually.
Yeah.
Which Artie carries the weirdest things around with him.
He
but
does.
Interesting stuff. Like I forgot all about him. It's like, yeah, he's the man who invented the thermostat. I was like, okay, like we're just really reaching here.
Yeah, but we had seen them already.
Yes, we had seen them already, but I forgot about it when I watched this episode.
Yeah,
Jeez.
this whole season has been like a flashback of some of the best artifacts that we've seen and forgotten about. Like you just said, you forgot about them. I forgot about half these things.
Yep.
Like, granted, the 3 we went over so far, only one of them was something we've seen so far, but there were others. There was definitely others that we've seen so far. During this time, Valda and Claire are out in a park, and Valda puts on a public display the artifacts to show one of his buyers. At the time, before you knew where they were headed, who did you think Valda was trying to sell this to?
Not a clue. The thought of, I'm like, wow, that seems very Mrs. Frederick-y kind of vehicle, you know?
Yeah.
Bodyguard and all that. And then I realized, all right, because I remember from last week, I'm like, all right, the title is Warehouse 14 in Chinese. He's probably a Chinese guy.
Yep.
And then, you know...
We never actually got to see him, did we?
No, we haven't. Not at all. But they just decided to make a whole park full of people pass out.
Yeah. Yeah. So he had used the Oliver Sacks record player, which we've seen plenty of times this season already.
Yeah, oh yeah.
However, the difference was Chuck Yeager's favorite LP was on
Well,
it.
that was one difference was no headphones, so everybody who heard it was affected.
Right.
And second problem was Chuck Yeager's favorite LP.
Yeah, and this record was owned by Chuck Yeager, and he was the first man to break the sound barrier.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and get too close and boom.
Yeah. I had no clue how they were going to stop that.
As soon as she brought out the underwear, I go, oh my god. Because I love that episode in season 2 because it had, 2 of the actors from Firefly in it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, those are the underwear Simon wore. And it made him a superhero. And then Micah throws them on, and now she's a superhero.
Yeah. Well, Claudia almost put him on.
Claudia was going to put them on, but Micah's like, no, I got this, because I think Micah wore them before at one point.
Yeah, she did. She did. It was in...
way back when.
Yeah.
Season
Mild-Mannered, the episode was called. So, yeah, the workout trunks possess the power to manipulate the density of anybody who wears them, increasing the density. Bullets bounce off the body of the users. Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. It's kind of like Superman thing going on here. Danger comes from the fact that eventually the wearer won't be able to stop increasing their own density. Everything around them will slowly be pulled towards them as their growing density begins to generate a gravity field. If the user reaches infinite density, he'll implode, and the amount of gravity created will flatten an area the size of Detroit.
Nice.
So that would have been bad. We started seeing Micah sink.
Yeah, she was starting to sink into the ground a little bit.
And I wonder if that's because she had previously warned them before. Because the episode that I remember, they were on much longer. The person without sinking. So, curious if it responded because she had already had them. I don't know.
Hell if I know. Maybe because she used them to walk through fucking 50 sonic booms.
Yeah, that could be it too.
Yeah.
Absorbing
Possibly.
all that energy. Yeah.
Something.
So they travel to Boston, like you said, and they end up getting locked into a storage cellar by Claire. But Claire kind of showed a little bit of emotion before locking Claudia, Micah, and Pete in the basement there. Did you think Claudia was going to even get through to Claire at that point?
At that point, no. Later in the episode, yes. Because that's just... Come on, it's just how these kinds of things work out.
Well, she still got through to her. You saw the tear come down.
Yeah, right.
So.
And it's not like Claire was completely not her. It didn't change her personality. It was just total control over her. So she was still Claire.
Right.
But, yeah.
Yeah. Then in the process, they get locked in there or whatever. Valda starts moving the process of moving the warehouse. We start seeing like a wide angle shot of the warehouse. And we see some artifacts that I haven't personally seen in the warehouse before. A giant Ferris wheel. Was that Ferris wheel mentioned ever before on the show?
No, nor was the blimp or the giant the giant boat.
Cause yeah, and then we saw the Trojan horse was there. We saw some giant dinosaur skeleton of some sorts. And something that even looked like the Washington Monument. Did you see that?
Yeah, actually, I did notice that. Huh.
So, does that mean the Washington Monument is an artifact and they replaced it with a replica?
Probably was. Oh, I have no idea.
That's ridiculous to think about.
Kinda is, yeah.
I'd be real excited if we could get some background info on the Washington Monument.
I would
artifact.
I would like any kind of background info on any of the random big things you see in the background every time.
I feel like the Ferris wheel had something explained at some point, but it's been so many episodes, and I don't know. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but I feel like I should be remembering it. So I don't know if it's just me subliminally wanting to, or if it actually happened.
Nah.
But at that point, Artie decides that Valda must have hidden it under the warehouse. And Steve goes, "There's an under the warehouse?" Were you surprised that this infinite space of warehouse has more area to it?
Yeah, that was kind of the... it's like, it's under the warehouse. I'm like... What? Like, peek my head out from around the corner, like, I'm sorry, what? There's an under the warehouse? Like, you're telling me, a potentially infinite plane of existence needs a basement? Yeah, that one got me a little bit.
Yeah. So they decide that they're going to try to stop the compass.
Didn't work.
With a can of silly string.
Well, first they tried neutralizing it. That didn't work.
Right.
And then they tried spraying the silly string, which, from season 1, got into the gooery, which was preventing all the artifacts from going boom. And they done goofed, and yeah. I think it was Claudia's fault, somehow.
Yeah, it was the 10th episode, I think, from season 1? The sticky string?
Something like that, I don't know.
Yeah. From what I remember, it smelled like chicken.
I don't remember that, but okay, maybe it smelled like chicken.
I think it smelled like chicken.
But if anything was going to work, that would have. But that stone plinth was kind of determined to keep moving.
Yeah, it didn't. It didn't want to stop.
No,
Not at all. Did,
never. It will not.
Did they think the silly string was gonna stop it? Like, is it? They must have thought that to spray it in the first place. It was
Artie's plan B, so.
Plan B. Yeah.
And plan C was then to destroy the compass, which that I love. It's like the guy who invented TNT's lab coat buttons. I'm like, I don't know. It just amazes me some of the ideas they come up with for artifacts.
Wilbrand's lab coat buttons.
Yes, that guy. But dude, let's just that's plan C. We're just gonna place these buttons around here. Fire in the hole. Run. Boom. Nothing happens.
See, the lab coat buttons seem like a stretch to me. Not the thermostat glasses, but the lab coat buttons. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Claudia ends up finding out Claire's going to be the new caretaker.
Mm-hmm.
And she ended up stopping her sister without the help of an artifact. Did that surprise you?
No, because I mean, we kind of got the hint that Claire was still in there and that there would probably be a way to reach her, subconsciously or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or, to break through to her. So the way she did it, the singing was probably the best idea.
The Garbage song?
Yeah.
Not that it was a bad song. I mean the song by the band Garbage.
Yeah, that.
So maybe that song is gonna turn into an artifact somehow.
Maybe, perhaps. Be interesting.
They end up stopping Valda by transferring Claire's powers to Valda, taking Valda's tuning fork,
and neutralizing
it, which would send him back to his own timeline.
I didn't think that would work like that, but apparently it's something I didn't think of. I figured he used the tuning fork, he was there, but now I remember it. The tuning fork is what was keeping him there, so.
Right.
Pretty interesting.
So, did they ever stop to think that Valda has access to all these artifacts in his own timeline? He's in a warehouse in his own timeline, and he could possibly come back through the time portal? Or is that not possible? Because there would be no way to get from his alternate reality to this one?
It's probable that he wouldn't be able to make it.
Because that alternate reality was created because of what happened in our reality.
Right, that alternate reality was created when, what's-his-face, Paracelsus went back in time and, royally screwed things up. So...
You would not be able to get back the other way around unless he went back and stopped Paracelsus from doing that, which would have altered himself. He would need a tuning fork. It's a whole crazy process. I mean, I technically, maybe it could be done, but it seems like a lot of hassle.
Yeah, it does seem like a lot of hassle. I don't know.
So, he's probably happier in his own timeline where he's got control of all the artifacts and can do whatever the hell he wants with them, rather than trying to come back to our timeline and just to mess things up with us.
Yep.
So, what else happened? Pete confessed his love for Micah, but to Steve, and Steve saw it.
Yeah, it's like, tell me I'm lying.
Yeah.
And then it's like...
It's about time, don't you think?
Sure.
Sure. It's been going on for 5 seasons now.
It's about time. They better,
We got 1 episode left.
We do have 1 episode left.
It's got to be done.
It has to be done. They either have to find love with each other, or one of them has to die or something.
Yeah.
Which would make me depressed.
I hope it's all of the above.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I don't want them to die. But, I don't know. I've still... There's no H.G. Wells yet.
No, and didn't they say that she was going to make an appearance? Probably, I guess, in the finale.
She's got to appear in the finale. She's got to. Because the actor that plays Pete tweeted out a picture of H.G. Wells' dressing trailer. Way back when they were filming. So, the fact that we haven't seen her yet, she's got to be on the finale. She has to be.
I guess, yeah.
So, all right, big question.
Go
We
for it.
talked about this a little bit in our first episode, our first podcast.
Go
What are you
on.
expecting from the finale? Now that we've had a little bit of a ride in these last 5 episodes.
I am expecting that either Pete and Micah will find each other, or one of them is going to wind up dead. Um, that it's called.
Well, we saw the warehouse is the process. The compass is still going. It's still
Right.
active. The
So
warehouse is still moving. So,
I'm guessing that the warehouse is going to still move.
do you think it's still going to go to China?
I don't know where it's going to go now. Maybe it'll go to China. Maybe it'll go somewhere else. Who knows? For now, I honestly don't know. I really have no idea what they're going to pull.
I don't know. You still wanted the football, right?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. The football has to hit the front door. Even if like the end of the episode is the warehouse disappearing from existence, the football still has to land, like it's left behind or something.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's
Needs to happen.
when was the last time we saw the football?
I love how we're both searching this
We're
right
both.
now. Love you, Google. Well, I love you.
The artifact tracker football.
Yep. Huh. Oh. That's what it does. It scan. That's how they get their pings.
That makes sense.
Hmm.
I actually didn't know. So the artifact tracker football is a 1920s style leather football that was found by Pete Latimer and Micah Baring when they first arrived outside Warehouse 13. When thrown, the ball will attain remarkable speed and track down artifacts. While mostly harmless, it can inflict superficial injury or damage upon return, as evidenced in the opening of the new guy when it dented the hood of ATF agent Steve Jink's Toyota Prius. It is revealed in New Hope that when the football is actually an artifact that constantly gathers data on various other artifacts around the world as it travels in the air and sends the information to the main warehouse computer whenever it passes over the warehouse.
Huh.
Whenever any artifact related activity happens anywhere in the world, football alerts the warehouse with a ping. Lena described it as an artifact tracker. Pete notes that it isn't regulation weight. Football can be opened with a special key that reveals the football as a high-tech computer, which includes a keyboard and screen. Type anything into the football's computer, and it will search its memory for an information on its subject. It has far more artifact-related information than the internet. So, I'm hoping we see it.
It needs to just like pop.
Yeah. All right, so next episode is this Monday, right? Sayers Monday nights?
Yeah,
Yes.
Monday nights.
So this Monday, episode 6, the final episode is called Endless. And it says, the gang learns that despite having prevented Valda from poaching and shutting down Warehouse 13, he had gotten so close to his goal that Warehouse 13 has begun, on its own accord, to contemplate retirement. The closure Warehouse 13 would entail the complete migration of the contents of the current warehouse to a newly christened Warehouse 14 in a new host country. Of greater concern to the team, however, is the fact that, per the manual, the warehouse would be run by a new group of agents chosen from the new host country.
Huh.
So that means no Pete and Micah. Or Steve. Or whatever. In accordance with tradition followed as the warehouse approaches the end of its life, Mrs. Frederick asks each member of the team to contribute to the warehouse time capsule, an artifact serving as the time capsule, the round table of King Arthur. It can pick out an agent's most formative memory from their time immersed in Warehouse 13's world of endless wonder. So it looks like we're possibly getting flashbacks. probably learn what their favorite memory was from their time here. So this seems like it's going to be kind of like a reminiscing episode as well.
That's fine by me.
So, it seems interesting. It's kind of like a best of the greatest hits kind of thing.
Yeah, that works. Greatest hits thing.
Yeah. So, yes. That about does it. So, Mike, where can the people find you that we don't have lower thirds?
Oh, that's okay. On Twitter, at Thilladren, THILLADREN. And trapped in this little box.
That's not a box, that's Farnsworth. You're on a screen.
Box.
You can find me at Phenomedom, PHENOMEDOM on Twitter. You can find us both and others on tvcaptive.com, as well as /ASOTV podcast on Facebook, Gmail, G+, YouTube, and Twitter. Until next week, see you guys for the finale.
Bye.
Yeah. One more episode. This is sad.
Yeah.
I'm sad.
Yeah.
Football!